Hi, I'm Akira. Some of you might have met me already, but I'm an undergraduate geographer at King's College London, and I'm the co-creator, co-organizer, co-ordinator. We go by so many different names of the Voices Project. And I'm also co-runner of the young people's educational campaign Rerouted, which focuses on creating a critical, inclusive and anti-racist secondary school education system.
Hi, I'm Chantal, and again, hopefully some of you have come across this already. I'm also co-creator of the Voices Project. I'm coming at this from 20 years of teaching experience and 15 of which is the head of department in a wide variety of schools.
And as Chantal said, we're both part of the Voices Project, and the Voices Project is both an online teaching and learning resource as well as an in-school Voices Project for those of you who haven't encountered it before.
So the purpose of the Voices Project was to introduce more voices into everyday classrooms, because every school, no matter where it is has marginalised voices within it. There will be different ones in different parts of the country and even different ones in the different parts of a town. But we felt that this was something that was really missing for some students, if not all students across the country.
And it's not just about the students or the voices, but it's also about the teachers involved, the educators who actually teach content to students. And we wanted to make sure that there were resources that push teachers to ask questions of themselves and of the lessons they teach, and include not only more voices, but more critical approaches to geography, asking who makes the resources, why is history told as it is, what groups get to be spoken about, what groups don't, what countries get to be spoken about, and in what context do they get to be talked about. And we think the Voices Project kind of attacks those questions head on.
And the aim of it was to make sure that we had a full spectrum of resources which enabled an entry point to decolonising geography, as well as something that would be a starting point for a more complex, in-depth look at decolonising. So a classroom teacher or a department or a school that hasn't really begun this journey yet can dip in and have a go at some activities which they can rely upon to have been reflected on critically before they were produced, and to start learning their way through how to approach decolonising geography within these resources, with an opportunity as they go forward or complete more activities to go further down that road. We're looking at and have started to create resources from Key Stage 2 up to Key Stage 5, and we're looking to broaden that further so that everyone, no matter where they are, have something that they can use from this resource.
And the approach that we take is obviously a decolonial and inclusive approach. And what that means to us is not only talking about British colonialism within the classroom, which is something that we often haven't seen being done within geography, to contextualize case studies, to contextualize the experiences of communities, but it's also to increase the plurality within geography, what perspectives are being heard, who is creating knowledge within our classrooms. So we empower certain voices in order to have those conversations about marginalized communities, but we also empower different voices within the creation of our resources. For instance, having university lecturers in conversation with community experts, community members, and fellow teachers to create a more combined pedagogy. And then we not only design our lessons collaboratively, but we platform knowledge and perspectives that teachers have said to us. Like, we've had conversation as groups of teachers and students who have gone through the British education system about what is lacking, and then try to create resources in response to that lack, especially after the Black Lives Matter movement and increasing political consciousness around the absence of certain types of representation in the classroom. And in order to create more inclusive classrooms and include more voices, we use communities that we're already in contact with. So we began with a snowballing technique, reaching out to people that we knew within the communities of interest based on the census data we originally reviewed and analyzed in order to find the groups that we wanted to center for the Voices project. So that's mainly how we've collected our data, which currently is in the form of oral histories. And we hope to continue that process throughout the development of the Voices project, centering voices through their stories, through oral histories.
And the output of the project is to make sure that all of the voices that are recorded are available to be used freely by all. So it's accessible for students, it's accessible for staff. And although we ask people to sign up and register, that's purely to provide a layer of protection for the voices that we're offering. So we're looking to create, and have created already, finished resources and smaller activities which enable staff to collect a whole lesson, a series of lessons, or even just to substitute an activity to begin their journey or to broaden their case study. The process isn't done in one foul swoop. It is very iterative. We are looking at reviewing it. So we already review it before we make it. So we've been through conversations with lecturers, with community groups, with the voices themselves, hearing other voices back, and the use of the Advocacy Academy to reach out to people to see what they think of the voices that we'd already created. So obviously going forwards, we're looking for more contributors to help improve this process. So the more people creating and reviewing the content, the better it's going to be.
We've also had teachers who have joined our journey through the GA and the GA conference. So there are so many different communities who have kind of got involved along the process. Speaking about the process, you're probably here because you want to get involved in the process. So maybe you're a teacher who'd like to use a Voices Project resource in your lessons, or you want to design Voices Project resources, or you're a website or content creator who wants to engage with our audiences and help us reach out to more people. Or maybe you're interested in funding, you're really good at numbers, unlike me, and you want to help us get more money to fund our project in the future and expand it. Involve more people, create longevity for a resource that we want to last a long time and impact many classrooms. So if any of those things sound interesting to you, here is our kind of job descriptions for things that you could get involved in over the next couple of years of the project.
So we think that there's some specific roles that in particular teachers or educators might be more suited towards, but that doesn't necessarily exclude other people from this, especially if you've had that experience in the past or even just gone through the school system. So we would like teachers to deliver the in-school Voices project. So to use the in-school Voices project within their school to collect voices, to make change and take action. We would then want these people to give feedback on what's happened and how they've used it, and help us refine the process and share that more widely with other schools. So that would involve working with a group of students. That could be within a school council, it could be within a class, over maybe a 6-month period to make a change. So it could be reaching out to the students, having an initial conversation, recording some conversations beyond that, more detailed ones, anonymizing the feedback, asking the students what changes they would like to see based on that feedback, and then taking that back to the school and making impact within the school system. But we've also got things that we think teachers could do in terms of the resource development itself. So we would like teachers to have a go at teaching some of the Voices Project lessons or individual activities, and to collect student feedback and complete staff surveys using Google Forms. So what did you think of it? Do we need to change anything? Did the students find it interesting? So there's 2 different surveys that we've created for that. So what we require commitment wise is that you could teach 1 lesson or 1 activity and fill in a reflection form. So it would take you only your lesson time or your activity time, and then the length of time it takes to fill in a short online survey, most of which is multiple choice. So that's a real nice one if you just want to get involved and just have a go at some stuff when you've got a little bit more time in the summer term. Finally, a lesson planner, more so for a teacher, educator, or someone that's been through the system. So we're looking to create other lesson plans or a series of lesson activities that relate to the Voices Project content. We've started this already. And the idea being that any resource could be applied to multiple different voices. So it could concentrate on one aspect that multiple different voices use. So therefore your activity or your lesson could be used in a very similar way, maybe with different content support, so maybe different case study content behind it, and enable staff to do the same type of activity but applied to different voices from within the website. This could be something similar to what we've already created or something completely new, so long as it relates to what has to be taught within the classrooms. So through the national curriculum, through the different GCSE boards, we have tried to keep it broad enough to apply to all. And what we'd like in terms of commitment there is to have an initial planning meeting, to do a draft production that could be reviewed and edited, and then looking to put it onto the website. So probably looking at 3 meetings for each lesson that takes part. And that's what we've been through doing ours. We've had a planning meeting with experts who've already planned resources for websites, for the GA, or we've had experts review the content. We've then produced an example, a draft, and we've had a go at it in classrooms, asked people to trial it, or we've just run through it with other members of staff, and then we've had review on that and edited it to make it more decolonial, to make it more critical, to make it more appropriate to what we are aiming to do from the project, because it's not going to be perfect the first time, and different people will see different things, strengths and weaknesses within every project that we do.
If you want to review materials, but you're not actually in a classroom, but you have different expertise, for instance, you're from a certain community that we're speaking about, or you've worked in the academy, you're a lecturer, but you're not currently working at secondary school level, which is what most of our resources are produced for, you can still review the lessons that we create, and that the lesson planners, as we've mentioned before, will be helping us create. And you can also do that by filling in a Google form. We'll have specifically made one for you. And that commitment really looks like filling in the form. It'll probably take about 5 or 10 minutes. But afterwards, if you want to have a longer consultation with us, or you input your file and you've got loads of notes you want to talk through, we can organize a Zoom, and we would love to talk to you about things that you feel like could be improved, or things that you liked about the resource, as part of our iteration process of improving the resources that we put online. Another role is a fundraiser. Woo, money. So as a fundraiser, we would expect you to be able to use Twitter, Instagram, really social media in general, also the networks that you're already connected to, whether that's through your previous jobs or through organizations that you're connected to find funding opportunities for us, and also find groups that might collaborate with us and help us create the resources that we need. So in terms of a commitment, that would look like an ongoing process. It's not necessarily got specific hours or really limits, but we'd expect maybe once a week sending us through opportunities via email, connecting us to people who might have funding opportunities for us or programs that we could get involved in. And yeah, we'd kind of expect to contact you through email. So you'd have to be really kind of up to date and easy to contact via those means. We also have web content creators. So if you're a web designer, a user experience expert, we would love to have you on our team to help us update our website, to post links, to embed videos and check errors. That's the most important thing, as we have basic expertise in web design, and we actually have had a web designer work with us, but in the future we might need more work done on our website, especially checking that things run smoothly for all users, and that it's accessible over time as the internet updates itself, as it does inevitably. So the expectation for timing for that would look like maybe on a monthly basis, checking our website, and if there are any larger jobs, that might also be commissioned work, so do let us know.
So we also need support with things like social media and marketing, because we have tried really hard to use Twitter to publicise the Voices Project, but also to get involved in kind of national and international conversations that are happening. But inevitably, there's always an important month or an important day, like the United Nations Earth Day or Black History Month or Pride Month happening. And sometimes that coincides with exams, assessments, work commitments. So we thought that this was something that we can definitely have help with. So we would like a social media or marketing support for somebody to be able to use our Twitter and YouTube accounts to be able to promote the Voices Project content and reach out to and respond to potential collaborators, so people that we could get involved within the project. We'd really like some support in creating shared topical tweets. So we tried to do this over the last 18 months or so, and we came up with a nice little calendar of all the United Nations days,
which we'll share with you.
Black History Month, Pride Month, and we've tried to put out voices versions of those things so we can add depth and more voices to what's being shared, whilst also flagging up the importance of hearing from more voices in the classroom. We also want to be able to use these as opportunities, even through like the Facebook groups as well, particularly the exam groups, the geography teachers groups, to look for opportunities to take part in presenting and sharing this resource. So for instance, we took part in the Teach Meet, the geography Teach Meet this year, and we've done the Share Conference, obviously the GA Conference, so other opportunities to spread this more widely. So we thought that we're looking for somebody to be able to commit to posting something probably every other week. So it doesn't have to be something that's done all the time, and it might be more dependent on the calendar and what's set on what we've decided are priorities on that. It may be something where it's all set up to auto tweet, if that's possible. But also being able to be contactable by, via WhatsApp for specific posting seasons, and available to attend live online events as part of that support, or even if it's from a distance, if we were presenting live and there's somebody fielding the social media in the background or bigging it up for us.
That'd be so helpful. And then lastly, we've got voice collectors, which sounds so kind of like foreboding, voice collector, but it would be people who are reaching out to our community links, creating oral histories, but also firstly establishing those relationships, talking to the people that they know, again through the snowballing process, getting access to more voices that can get engaged in the project, organizing Zoom calls to talk them through what the Voices Project is, get more people interested, and then eventually do the voice collecting, which involves setting up a Zoom meeting for two or more people to have a conversation relating to the Voices Project themes. And then after that, it would be organizing the specific data collection, whether that's sending things through Dropbox or WeTransfer, getting those files and sending it to us so we can store them and process them. And the kind of responsibility or commitment for that would be really set on a project by project basis. Sometimes we can collect a voice and finish meeting the person to the recording their voice in 2 weeks. Sometimes it takes 3 months. So obviously that would depend on whose voices you're collecting, what their personal situation is, but we'd be happy to support you, whatever community you want to reach out to. And yeah, again, we would be in constant contact. So probably contact via email would be best for us if you're trying to set up a voices collaboration.
So how can you reach out to us if you'd like to get involved? So obviously we've got our Twitter account, so at VoicesProject_. We've got our email, so voicesprojectinfo@gmail.com. We've got WhatsApp, so you can just contact either myself, Chantal, or Akira via the Decolonising Geography group, or you can contact us and join the Slack Voices Project so that you can nip in and nip out and be aware of what's going on with the whole process.
And how will we recruit you after all of this? Well, we're looking for a variety of contributors. And if you'd like to send us a message, again, via email, or if you're already within Decolonising Geography, you can message us on WhatsApp about what you'd like to get involved in, how you'd like to get involved, what your capacity is. And then we'll have an introduction meeting with you via Zoom or Teams to talk you through the project, what you think you'll be able to commit to over the next couple of months. And then we would also like to kind of talk about what projects you'd start with. And we're aiming to start these projects towards the middle/end of the summer holidays in order to start releasing some of our new content in the autumn term.
So we've really gained so much from having this conversation during the production of the Voices Project. It's evolved as we've gone through, so it may be that what we're setting up here may evolve into other aspects as we go forwards. And we've really loved being part of this journey and having conversations with students, educators and lecturers in order to broaden the voices that we're hearing from, but that we can share experiences with. So we can't wait to work with you, and we'll wait for your messages then.
Yeah, hopefully hear you soon. Bye.